Here's a crazy story. This guy named Thomas reached out to me one day, but he wasn't looking to sell his company. He was looking to buy one that I previously did a video about called Reputation Rhino, a digital marketing company that performs reputation management services for people. He was one of the 163 buyers that responded to me on that listing. On average, I get about 97 buyers per listing, but digital marketing companies get much more than that. He was shocked at how much I listed it for and didn't realize how much digital marketing agencies could sell for. Some time went by and I sold Reputation Rhino to somebody else. Several months after that, Thomas reached back out to me. He was starting to think about selling his own company and wanted to know if I had other buyers than the ones that bought Reputation Rhino, or maybe even that buyer, and if they would be interested in his business. What happened next turned one simple buyer inquiry into a $2.5 million exit, and one of the most unexpected success stories I'd ever participated in. In this video, I'll take you behind the scenes and explain how that happened. How Thomas went from trying to buy a business to selling his own for millions.
Hi, I'm Nate Lynn. I sell companies like realtors sell homes. Specifically, businesses where the owner runs them remotely, like e-commerce, technology, internet companies, and professional service firms making anywhere between $1 to $30 million a year. I've been selling companies for over a decade, and in the last few years, I've sold 20 companies for over $121 million. If your business has strong cash flow and a buyer can run the business from any location, chances are I already know someone who wants to buy it. In fact, if that's the case, I guarantee I can bring you 30 serious buyers and get you an LOI in less than 4 months.
When Thomas first came to the United States over 25 years ago, he did what many immigrants do. He got educated, he worked hard, he did everything by the books and rose through the corporate ladder. He spent years in big companies, earning promotions, getting a paycheck, and checking all the boxes. But after a while, he realized something. No matter how high he climbed, the view was always the same. He still worked for someone else's dream. Around that time, he started reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and The 4-Hour Workweek, and that changed everything for him. Those books planted a seed that maybe true success isn't about earning more, but about owning something of value. That's when he started thinking differently. He didn't just want a job anymore. He wanted freedom, time with his family, to control his own schedule, and to build something of his own. That's what led him to start eBizUniverse. At first, a side project, helping his doctor get more patients. That one project worked so well that it snowballed clients and referrals to him. Dentists, doctors, and eventually some government agencies. Within a few years, this side project had turned into a full-blown digital marketing agency. He had the dream, clients, income, growth. But ironically, the thing that was supposed to give him freedom ultimately started to take it away from him. 15 years later, eBizUniverse was a 7-figure business. The numbers were great, the growth was strong, the reputation was impeccable. But Thomas was tired and trapped in his own creation. Still, Thomas wasn't ready to slow down. He told me, if I'm gonna grow this to a 9-figure business, I've gotta scale. Maybe I should buy another agency, hire more people, add more services. That's how I'll get there. The logic made sense. More size, higher valuation, bigger payoff. But the cost, more time, more stress, and more time away from his family. And when we spoke that second time, we went through his numbers. It became clear to him he didn't need to chase a 9-figure dream. He already had a 7-figure exit reality sitting right in front of him. A sellable, profitable, and bankable business that could give him everything those books first showed him. Time, freedom, and validation. He just needed someone to show him how to unlock it, and that's exactly what I did. The next step was clear. Before we took eBizUniverse to market, we had to make it buyer ready. The business was profitable, the team stable, and clients loved them. Sounds great, right? But as soon as I asked to look at the numbers, I knew we had some work to do. eBizUniverse was making some solid money, about $1.3 million per year in revenue, and on that, $583,000 in SDE, with margins close to 45%, really healthy for an agency. But the books, let's just say they weren't ready for prime time. The look and feel of them didn't match what buyers would expect. He wasn't using QuickBooks or another professional bookkeeping system. It was hard to figure out employee expenses versus owner earnings and fringe benefits. Some expenses were inaccurately labeled, and the financial reporting looked like it had been manually adjusted one too many times. Nothing shady, just messy. And here's the thing I've learned after looking at hundreds of financial reports. It doesn't matter how great your company is. If your financial reports don't show the numbers simply and cleanly, buyers won't believe it. So I told Thomas, you have some homework to do first. We're not ready to list it. You could feel the air go out of our call. I could feel his disappointment. But then I explained, we're going to get this cleaned up first. Make the financials simple and clear. Make this bankable. And that's exactly what we did. His disappointment turned into determination. I worked with Thomas to rebuild his financial story from the ground up. We separated personal expenses from business ones, employee costs from owner benefit, and reorganized his P&L so that anyone, a buyer, a banker, a CPA, could look at it and immediately understand the health of the business and its profitability and its cash flow. We aligned everything with his tax returns, documented his recurring clients, and highlighted the predictability of his revenue streams. When the dust settled, the business looked even better on paper than either of us expected. And now it was credible and would withstand scrutiny from an SBA lender. Once the cleanup was complete, I got eBizUniverse pre-approved for an SBA 7A loan for a buyer. With that approval, any creditworthy buyer could put down as little as 10 to 20% and finance the rest of it with the SBA over 10 years. It's kind of like an FHA loan for homes. That move completely changed the game. It opens the floodgates to hundreds of buyers that can now use financing to buy the business. We weren't just selling a business anymore. We were selling a bankable asset. Once eBizUniverse was lender ready, we listed it. And almost immediately, the listing exploded. Within the first few days, my inbox grew 5, 20, 50 buyers inquiring. In less than a week, I had 98 buyers signing the NDA and asking for more information about it. That's what happens when you combine a profitable, ready business with SBA financing. Everybody suddenly wants in. But our goal wasn't just to find a buyer or even the first buyer. It was to find the right buyer. Someone who would keep Thomas's legacy intact, take care of his clients and his team, and close the deal with little to no drama. So I started pre-screening them. During the deal, I handled every buyer call, every lender call, and all the back and forth with legal. That's so Thomas could stay focused on running the company while I stay focused on managing the transaction. Out of the 163 total buyers, I narrowed it down to 3 serious contenders and 2 competing offers. One of them came from a strategic buyer, Cloud Equity Group. They love the margin, the recurring clients, and the stable team running it all. The other was a private buyer, an ex-Air Force officer and his partner, who were going to use the SBA financing to purchase the deal. That's when the competition began. See, SBA deals tend to have a higher cash at closing. The SBA funds 70 to 80% of the cash at closing. The financing terms are predictable, but the timeline is usually longer. So we use that leverage to negotiate a higher cash at closing against Cloud Equity. Cloud Equity's strategic fit meant a smoother, faster handoff and a quicker closing than the private buyer. They also had a proven track record of acquisitions versus a first-time buyer. From listing to closing, the entire process took 7 months and 16 days. And here's what's wild. After the initial homework, Thomas barely had to lift a finger. I did pretty much everything for him, from managing buyers to working with lenders to handling the legal process, so he could stay focused on the business, servicing his clients, and spending time with his family through the duration of the transaction. When the final offer landed, Thomas saw it, $2.5 million. It wasn't just the number that hit him. It was the realization that 15 years of hard work and effort and building was now coming to a conclusion. It wasn't just the number that hit him. It was a culmination of 15 years that quietly grew into a life-changing asset. And what started as a call about him wanting to buy another company ended in a multi-million-dollar exit of him selling his own. It wasn't just celebration in his voice. it was relief too. He told me, "You know, Nate, years ago when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and the 4-Hour Work Week, I thought maybe it was buying a business that would get me the freedom and exit that I wanted. It turns out selling mine just as it was, here and now, was the ultimate ending." That really hit me because this wasn't just a financial win, it was a mindset shift. For Thomas, freedom didn't come from scaling endlessly. It came from when knowing to stop, to look around, take stock of what he'd built, and to turn all those hard years and the passion and time and effort into a moment to seize and exit. That reward bought him his freedom. He could slow down, travel, spend time with his family, take the kind of deep breath that most of us entrepreneurs forget we're allowed to take. And for me, that's the best part of this job, helping founders realize that an exit isn't an ending. It's the reward for years of taking risk, relentless determination, and effort. And in Thomas's case, it was a well-earned new beginning. Every founder's story is a bit different, but Thomas's journey teaches almost everybody who's building a business the same things. Lesson number 1, don't wait until you're exhausted before you explore your exit options. Most entrepreneurs wait until they're burnt out, bored, or have a burning passion for a new project before they start thinking about selling. The best exits happen when your business is strong, when it's stable, when it's growing, and when it's focused. When your books and financials are clean, when your growth is stable, predictable, and dependable. Lesson number 2, your numbers help me tell your story. Buyers don't just invest in your service, product, or team. They invest in the clarity of your financials, which helps them predict the future of your profit. If your books are messy, you're leaving money on the table, or at worst, you're unsellable. Lesson number 3, you don't need to build forever to have a big success. Thomas started out by thinking that buying another business or scaling to 9 figures was going to be his big exit. What he learned, and what I see over and over again, is that freedom is a mindset, and it's not as far away as you may think. From knowing when the business serves your life instead of takes it away. Lesson number 4, surround yourself with deal makers, not just dreamers. A good M&A advisor doesn't just list a company and wait. We create the narrative. We tell the story. We work with the buyers, vet them, screen them. We work with the lenders, get the company financeable. We protect your time so you can keep running the business while we run the transaction process. And lastly, lesson number 5, selling isn't the end. It's just the beginning. It's the reward for every risk you took, every problem you solved, and every night you stayed up worrying if it would all work out. Thomas didn't just sell his company. He sold 15 years worth of work. That work and effort gave him the freedom to start his next chapter. And that's something every founder deserves to feel when they've built something that's real. Stories like Thomas's are why I do what I do, helping entrepreneurs turn years of work into life-changing events. That's the most rewarding part of this job. So if you've been running a business for a few years, maybe it's time you think about the same question I asked Thomas. What if your business, right now, is exactly what buyers are looking for? If you want to find out what your professional service, advertising, or digital marketing company might be worth, click on the link below for my free valuation calculator, because you might be sitting on a gold mine and not even know it. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more founder exit stories like this, subscribe and check out the next case study on the channel.